Aggressive efforts are in play to address PTSD and mental trauma with first responders. It's a blend of traditional therapy and the use of technology.
So Brian, I'm going to put this on you.
Pittsburgh firefighter Brian Matz is a 20-year veteran with Engine Company 28 in Beechview. This is his brain scan for PTSD and other forms of mental trauma that have built up over the years. Daniel Jarvis is running the scan. He is the founder of Healing the Hero, a nonprofit group whose sole purpose is to identify and correct mental trauma in first responders.
In the United States, we lose one first responder a day to suicide, whether it's police or fire.
Jarvis says a first responder's nervous system is ramped up 24/7. That releases alarming levels of the stress hormone called cortisol.
And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing heart attacks, strokes, pick your cancer, autoimmune issues. The body is under a significant amount of stress for very long periods of time.
For Matt's brain scan, Jarvis uses a device called EVOX.
It's an 18-channel EEG where it's measuring the electrical output of the brain. Each channel is measuring something in the brain in the frequency range. So what it allows us to do is to identify objective measurements for things like PTS, anxiety, depression, because you can actually see parts of the brain activating that indicate they're high indicators for that.
The process requires an initial brain scan. After that, a series of treatments called Trauma Resilience Protocol, and then a second scan to see the results. This is Matt's second brain scan.
You're going to change that emotional state. You're not going to change the memory. The memory is going to always be there. It's just the visceral feeling won't be there anymore.
This is the image of a police officer's brain scan. On the left is a heavy red-colored area showing the presence of PTSD, depression, or anxiety. But the image on the right shows how much his condition improved after treatment.
We're just targeting the neural pathway and showing the brain how to reprocess, rewire, and reconsolidate the memory.
With our first responders, think about any pre-existing conditions that they may have. They may already have issues with anxiety. They may have already had issues with depression, and now this is layered on top of that.
Therapist Dr. Sheila Roth is training a Pittsburgh firefighters peer support group. They will support other firefighters struggling with mental trauma from the job.
Did someone die? Did you witness the death? Was someone that you care about injured? As a clinician, my job is to go towards the pain. Tell me about that.
In Roth's one-on-one therapy sessions, she probes deeply into the life of troubled first responders. Dark and disturbing events in the past are brought to the surface. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, death of a loved one, family problems.
Have you encountered first responders who've attempted or contemplated suicide?
I have.
In simple terms, Roth is the 911 operator for first responders struggling with mental trauma. She uses a cognitive behavioral therapy program called Unified Protocol.
It's called tactical breathing. And as I was saying earlier, when you breathe in, you activate fight or flight or sympathetic division of your brain. But when you breathe out, you're actually engaging the relaxation centers of your brain. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it together.
Another support group for first responders is the Critical Incident Stress Management Team. They can see first responders within hours after a call.
They will ask us to come out to their locations to sit down and talk with the individuals that were firsthand at that scene. It's to educate them as to what they may experience as a result of the trauma.
If their condition is too severe,
if it continues, then they may need further assessment from a mental health perspective.
Inside Allegheny County's emergency management services, they take up to 100 traumatic calls in one shift. It can easily wear down call takers and dispatchers mentally.
In those conversations, we want to provide a space for them that is not necessarily in the room.
Thank you.
Chief Matthew Brown shows Pittsburgh's Action News 4 where his team members can decompress while on the job. They have access to a lounge.
So we have a walking trail here that pretty much runs the fence line, the perimeter of the property. Just an opportunity to walk out, get outside, fresh breath of air.
Just regular everyday people, the struggles that they go through, it just shows that mental health is not targeted. It will affect anyone at any time if the door is open.
While this report focused on first responders, behavioral experts say everyone should make the effort to seek help to keep their mental wellness in check. Covering Allegheny County in Pittsburgh, Sheldon Ingram, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.